I love disaster movies, from the golden age in the 70s to the resurgence in the 90s, and even more recent movies that have come out. There's something about those 70s disaster films that really appeal to me though. Huge ensemble casts, massive practical effects and sets. If they want to destroy a building, they're going to destroy a building. Real fire, real water. It was a dangerous time to shoot a film like this, but it just looks so cool. And that's why even now, some of those films still hold up really well. Today I'm going to talk about my 3 favorite disaster films from the 1970s. 2 of these films are no-brainers for anyone who's watched disaster movies, but one of them is going to be a complete surprise for most of you, so stick around. Let's start with the earliest film on this list, 1972's The Poseidon Adventure, starring Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, and a whole slew of other characters. It's a pretty simple setup. People are on an ocean liner, a cruise ship, and a rogue wave hits them, flips the ship upside down. People have to survive. So it is a group of people versus the elements. This is what I like in disaster films. There's not really a villain or a bad guy in this film. The bad guy, the villain, the antagonist, whatever you want to call it, is nature, is the water, is the rising water, and they have to escape it. This film is great. It's got practical effects out the ass. What the hell does that even mean? When you watch the Poseidon Adventure, it feels real, and that's because it really was. The whole dining room scene, they actually built it on hydraulics and flipped it in real life upside down. Gene Hackman, Ernest Borgnine, the others, they were doing real stunts in the water, kind of life or death if they screwed up too bad. The film is dark and they're dirty, they're sweaty, they're wet, fire's coming out from them. It's a disaster of epic proportions. It was gritty, it was intense. I was at the edge of my seat because they do a great job setting up the characters we actually care about. And I think that's something that's missing from a lot of modern day disaster films where it's all spectacle all the time. That's great. That's a good popcorn film. But you have to care about the people in this film who are trying to survive and escape or make it somewhere or make it to another day, whatever the case may be. You have to care about that group of characters. Otherwise, who cares what happens to them, right? Now let's hop out of the water and go up into the sky. I'm talking about 1974's The Towering Inferno. So The Towering Inferno is described as the spectacle of the decade, and I kind of agree. It is set in a skyscraper and there's a big New Year's Eve party, so yeah, New Year's right around the corner. You may want to watch this instead of whatever else you want to watch. And of course, the owner of the building cut corners and cut wiring and whatever he did, and a fire starts and the people have to survive and get out. So the star power in this film is crazy. Paul Newman, Steve McQueen, probably 2 of the biggest stars in the 70s in this film playing against each other. Now it's really funny because they both wanted to be first billed. They both fought on set over who had more lines and who was the biggest star. Both of them have huge egos, and I can only imagine what the director had to do to keep them in line. The special effects in this film are insane. Real fire, real water, they're high up, there's dangerous situations, characters that you actually care about, and a few surprises of who lives, who dies. So it's a great watch if you have the time. It's a bit long, I believe it's 2 hours and 45 minutes, but let's be real, the holiday season's coming up. You got nothing better to do than to stuff your face. So turn on the TV, watch The Towering Inferno, and imagine what you would do in that situation. I would push people out of my way and use them as a human shield and just try to like slide down somewhere. But that's just me, but I'm a hog too. So for this third film, bear with me. All right, come here, bear with me a little bit. This might be a bit of a stretch, but let's play it out. The third film I'm going to talk about in the 70s is Jaws. Now, when people think of Jaws, they think of a creature film, horror film, shark film, I guess, with its own subgenre. It is a disaster film if you really think about it. It has all the makings of the genre, just like in The Towering Inferno with a building owner who cut corners and got all these people in trouble. Same thing in this film where the mayor ignores all advice to save his summer dollars. People suffer because of it. You have that, you have nature, the shark in this case, you have the group of scientists and smart people who have come together to fight against that. What makes Jaws so great is when Spielberg directed this, it became one of the first big summer blockbuster films. He was really smart in not showing the shark very often, but that's smart because the less you see of the shark and less you see of villains in general, the scarier there are. Your brain will make it seem way scarier than anything you could see on screen anyway. So just seeing like a fin or seeing a shadow in the water, not fully seeing it was terrifying. So that was a great choice there. And what really makes Jaws great is that not just because of the action, set piece, and the spectacle of it, it's the grounded nature of it. The whole USS Indianapolis speech is a true event that actually happened where a lot of sailors ended up in the water during a battle in World War II, and a bunch of them were preyed upon by sharks. Can you imagine the horror of surviving your boat going down and you're just stuck in the middle of the ocean with no help in sight? All you can hear your friends being devoured by sharks and screaming and blood in the water. Absolutely terrifying. I am scared of deep, dark water. I'm scared of the open ocean. I'm scared of sharks. I would crap myself and piss myself like repeatedly. Maybe that would prevent me from being eaten because the sharks would get a whiff of that and turn away. If so, I would crap myself uncontrollably. That thought is just terrifying, to be out in the... Can you imagine being out at night where it's dark in the middle of the ocean, no lights, nothing, just the stars, and you just see fins around you? Absolutely terrifying. And hearing Quint talk about this in the film, it really, it does a great job of bringing this event, this historical event, into this film and making it, giving the film a bit of grit and realism as well. Jaws was one of the biggest films in the 1970s. If you think about it, it's one of the biggest disaster films ever made. It was awesome. I'm sure you've all seen it, but check it out if you haven't. All three of these movies worked not just because things were getting blown up or drowned or a disaster or someone was being eaten. They work because you care about the characters as well. All three films do a great job of introducing a core cast of characters that you can relate to, that you root for, that are heroic. You don't have these huge, gigantic human villains in the case. You have people that you don't like and you have some antagonists, but there's not like an action film or a horror film where there's that one antagonist that you actively root against. In this case, it's nature, and that's the best staple of a disaster film. In a disaster film, you want to see your heroes rise up to the challenge, rise up to the occasion. It's heartwarming, it's exciting, it's intense, and that's where these films succeed. So there you go. Those are my three favorite disaster films of the 1970s. You're in luck if you like disaster films, though, as much as I do, because in the 90s, a resurgence happened. And in my next video, I am actually going to talk about my three favorite disaster films from the 90s. There's a lot to pick from. You're going to want to subscribe and come back next week because I am going to talk about the best disaster films of the 90s. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. Do yourself a favor. Like and comment on this video. What are your favorite disaster films of the 70s? There was a lot I didn't include. I've seen pretty much all of them, so leave a comment and we can have a discussion about the best disaster films of the 70s. You'll help me grow and doesn't take too much of your time, and I would really appreciate it. Until next time, stop scrolling, start watching.